Okay, it says, many waters cannot quench love, neither can floods drown it. If a man would offer all the goods of his house for love, he would be utterly scorned or despised. Love is priceless. And that's all I wrote right there. And I'm trying to really get to understand, like, why would I write that? What was I thinking, like, when I read it in the book?
How long when I first met you, love was your thing.
Yeah, it was.
You walked up to me, Jerry, and about 3 or 4 of us. Your first question was to us, what do we think love? And we think love. Tell us what does love tell us? Song is like one big love letter, you know?
Yeah, it is.
And it's almost neurotic. And to me, Solomon, but
you say it's almost what?
Neurotic. If you ever read some of the stuff that Solomon wrote. What's it, chapter 2?
Chapter 8. Where's the Song of Solomon at?
It's right up Ecclesiastes.
So it's after Psalms.
Past Psalms, past Proverbs. Let me just read this right here. This is chapter 1. A couple of verses. The Song of Solomon, which is the Songs of Song, which is Solomon. Let him kiss me with kisses of his mouth, for thy love is better than wine, because the savor of thy good ointment, that thy name is an ointment poured forth. Therefore, do the virgin love thee. So I'm saying it's almost erotic when you read Song. It's about love. It's even about sex. If you get into it and read it, it's all in this book. It's like like a love story, like a big little poem and stuff like that. And it's the 8th verse, and the number 2 says, "The voice of my beloved, behold, he cometh, leaping into the mountains, skipping upon the hills. My beloved is like a roe or a young hart. Behold, he standeth behind our wall. He looketh forth at the woman, showing himself through the lattice." You know, it's a very neurotic thing. You know, sometimes when I read it, I'm like, what is he talking about? You know, but it's a love story. It's something like it's a poem. I think it's a bunch of poems put together.
Just put together.
Yeah, but when you read it, if you really read it and let your mind, you can almost visualize what the writer is talking about. You know, Solomon was a lover. You know.
Yeah, that's true.
Solomon was a lover.
I don't know, but for whatever reason, I'm trying to break this this scripture down.
Okay, chapter 8, what verse? The first
7, verse 7.
Many waters cannot quench love, neither can the flood drown it. If a man would give all the substance of his house for love, it would utterly be contained. What that word mean? Contained.
I don't know. Quench is what the word that's in mine.
You know, quench is basically like you put something out.
Like you quench. Yeah. Like quenching a fire.
Men and water cannot. It's almost like the desire that he held is that for men and water cannot. Let's go back to this thing. Set me a seal upon thy heart, as a seal upon thy arm. For love is strong. Love is strong as death. Jealousy is cruel as the grave. The coals thereof.
Where are you reading that now?
That's the 6th verse.
Oh, okay.
The coals are. The coals thereof are coals of fire, which has a most vehement flame. It's something like you're burning with desire, you know, something like that. Let me find out what this contaminated. Her look things up. And sometimes you have to look at the proper meaning, because sometimes the meaning they put up is not necessarily the right meaning.
Right.
And ask her, what does contemn in the Bible mean? The King James Dictionary, contemn to despise with mockery.
Yeah.
It would utterly be based mocked, I guess.
Okay, so think about this now. This whole chapter, it says the lovers speak. That's like the heading of the chapter.
Right.
Okay, it's speaking from the bridegroom, and the actual bride. Okay. So
you've got to read the first verse of chapter 8.
oh, that you were like a brother to me, who nursed at the breast of my mother. If I found you out of doors, I would kiss you. No one would blame me or despise me either.
Okay, let me read it from King James Version. Oh, that thou wert my brother, that sucked the breast of my mother. When I should find thee without, I would kiss thee, yea, I should not be despised. It's almost like a sister brother. Yeah, it's actually lusting after a brother. You know? I don't know. Well, like I say, it's if you read it, it's almost an erotic thing. You can get your mind. The Holy Spirit will reveal these things unto you. You see what the writer is talking about.
Yeah,
It's all about love. The whole chapter is about love. It's only what 8? That's only 8 chapters. The whole chapter is about love. It's about desires.
Yeah. Then he said, I will lead you and bring you into the house of my mother, who used to instruct me. I would give you spiced wine to drink from the juice of my pomegranates. Let his left hand be under my head, and his right hand embrace me.
This also is talking about almost like it's talking about a woman, but almost like if you read the third verse, I charge you, O daughters of Jerusalem, that ye stir not up, nor awake my love until he please. Until he please. I'm going to say till he is pleased, or what exactly is he saying? Don't wake me up, daughters of Jerusalem, until my love is pleased. What should be ED on that or what? But it's almost like a marriage, a man and a woman. But I think it goes deeper than that.
Well, just like when you read verse 7, many waters cannot quench love, okay? Nor can rivers drown it. So many rivers cannot quench love, so it can't stop love out. You know what I'm saying? No matter how deep the water is, whatever. And it says, nor can rivers drown it. Then it says, if a man will offer the riches of his house for love, it will be utterly scorned and despised. So somebody come and offer you the greatest gifts that they have to offer. He's saying it will be utterly scorned. So what he offered will be scorned, and it'll be despised. Like, you can't believe that you will offer me this.
It's talking about what kind of love you're talking about. You're talking about physical love, or just spiritual love,
Well, see,
love. But when you offer someone
but this
for
is the
love,
thing.
you're buying it.
But this is the thing. When I think about love, it's only one love, and it's love that describes God. So if I'm thinking about it in the Bible, I'm thinking about God, love, because God said, I am love.
Right.
He is love, right? So then that's the kind of love that I'm thinking about, because it's right here in this verse. So I'm thinking that it's kind of like many waters cannot quench God. And it says, nor can rivers drown God. Then if a man will offer all the riches of his house for God, it will be utterly scorned and despised. Because basically saying, God is priceless. You don't have nothing that you can offer for God. There is nothing you can offer that can, where you can just get God like he pawning something. I said, I'll give you this if you give me that. If you give me God, I'll give you this. Nah, you know how priceless having God is.
Let me read this. This is it's kind of like a study Bible. I think I bought it from here, didn't Let me read this to you. 8 and 7. These verses clearly climax the story. The maiden describes in most vivid terms the unquenchable nature of true love. It cannot be destroyed by death or the grave. It burns like a blaze of fire that cannot be extinguished. It cannot be bought.
See? Boy, look at Jesus. Because see, that's what I wrote. Like after I wrote the verse down, I wrote, love is priceless. So you know that had to be the Holy Spirit. Just he must have gave me that part because
So you don't
it's not
think
wrote
there's a
right there.
difference between the love of a man and a woman and like a
Well,
man
I
and
mean,
that's
I think
just love, like
for
you
us to be able to
the love
understand,
of your kids, your parents, all your
I
friends,
think for us to be able to understand, we break it down like that in our mind because we believe that to love somebody the way God loves somebody is impossible because people gonna be people.
Yeah.
People gonna be people. So it's like, so we can't imagine because you know, for us, if you do something wrong for me, I want to be able to walk away from you and not feel bad about it. I'm gone. You do you. I'm gonna do me, and that's it. But what God is saying, because see, no matter what we do to God, He gonna always. He said it. I will always love you. There is nothing. Nothing. What do you say? No length, no breadth, no length.
nothing can separate us from
Yeah, nothing can separate us from Him. So, because, like I said, because we said, I mean, God don't expect us to be Him, so, you know, He gonna allow this and that. And I said, well, it ain't that He allow it. It's just the fact that He knows people on people. So He gave you two outs when it comes to marriage, right? And it is adultery and
Just one. What's the other one? I know the other one.
yeah, it was two of them. I thought it was two of them.
And I know Jesus said, except for fornication. That's the only legal reason. To
Oh well,
divorce.
maybe it was just that one day. Maybe it wasn't two. It was just that one.
That's all I have.
So okay, so other than that, there's no way out of marriage. And so, but
Except death.
yeah, it's death and fornication. Those are your two ways out of marriage right there. So if neither one of them has occurred, you married. So, but see, we want to feel like, well, yeah, but if he beat me to death or he did this and that, stuff like that, I'm gonna leave. But what Paul said, he said, like if your husband want to leave, let him go, right? Or if your wife want to leave, let her go. But if they don't want to leave, and you know, and you like if you got the word of God in you, then it's like you got to have the endurance to be able to allow them to grow. Basically, they got to grow.
And I think a lot of men don't understand that because if the man is say righteous and the woman not, they're thinking that you can beat your wife on the head with the Bible, or you can beat your husband on the head with the Bible.
Yep.
But that I've heard a married guy left his wife for that very reason. For that very reason, she had given her life to Christ, but she kept nagging him, beating him with the Bible, and making her life miserable. He said, "I can't enough." He left her because the Bible says if they choose to stay, let them stay.
Yeah.
But you don't rag, you don't beat on hit the Bible. So you're making their life miserable as yours, and you can't. There's no peace in the home.
And you cannot force somebody to love God. You just can't, because God don't even force us.
Free will.
Yeah, it's free will.
It's a
Unfortunately,
choice.
that's what it is.
It's a choice.
Oh, I gotta take this thing off the hot. But so when I'm reading this scripture right here, again, it's like it's letting me know.
Wow.
It's supposed to be something they gave us. I don't know, but I haven't been able to use either one of them.
Whatever you need,
like the charge and stuff like that.
This is a USB port. Neither one of these will fit my phone. It's on turn around. Android always change the hookup.
Well, that's the same thing with iPhone. They always change something. I'm sorry. Look, I'm trying to get this thing off. I'm hot. You know, when I'm drinking that thing right there, that macchiato will get hot up in here. But anyway, so.
They look good in blue.
Oh, thank you. So this is the way I've always seen love, and even though, like I said, you know, people always say, well, if somebody's beating you, you got a right to leave. You don't stay there and let somebody beat you to death or if you see somebody beating your kids and being mistreating your kids and stuff like that, why would God expect you to stay? Okay, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. But because we don't know everything, first of all, that's the first thing you got to understand. You don't know everything. And God is the one that, if the person call out for God, then God is coming, whether you like it or not. You might not like it, but God is coming to help them. If they cry out to Him, He's going to help them. And I think a lot of times we think that because we looking at them a certain way, that God got to be looking at them the same way. Well, God, you see everything He's doing to me. You see everything that's happening. Why should I have to, whatever? But I always feel like, because I feel like when I get married, I know some troubles are going to happen. I know it is. But I have to be at a place to where I have learned what forgiveness is, how to give forgiveness, how to receive forgiveness as well, because it might be something I do. Who knows? Also, I got to understand that as long as you're wearing this body right here, you're not going to be perfect. It's just not going to happen. It's not possible. You can be as close as you can be, but that don't mean you are perfect. You know what I'm saying? So, it's just one of those things where when I think about love, I always think of love on the grandest scale, where when I see love, I'm thinking somebody loves me even when it hurts them. It's hurting them to love me because I might be making it that way. You know what I'm saying? They love you in spite of. And what I mean by that, say you married, right? And in spite of you going out doing the ungodly things, you are cursing them out every day. You're walking in a way that is ungodly as well. You're just doing the most, basically. But they are choosing every single day to love you, not because you might have money, so that's why they say, because people give reasons. Oh, we on with me. They know I got this money, so they try not to leave. They don't want to leave, blah, blah. No, they're not leaving because they have dedicated themselves to God and to what God says marriage is about. So they believe that whole thing that, when you read in the Bible about marriage, the thing that's supposed to, be reasons of divorce and stuff like that. They believe in it. They take it all the way to the grave. They ready to take it to the grave.
That reminds me, that's a true story. Young lady, don't call her name, you might know her, with the BMW. And she married to a guy from BMW. And he treated her like crap. This is a good looking woman, I'm telling you. And he had no desire for her, didn't want to have sex with her. He had a baby by a woman down in Anderson. He was paying like $1,500 a month.
You talking about Cordell? I mean, not Cordell, what's his name?
I didn't call her name.
I can't remember, didn't we?
He paid $1,500 a month for child support. And he was like, it seemed like he, even though he was paying like money, it seemed like something he would rather be with her than be with my wife. And I thought she was just talking to me. Basically, I wasn't giving her no proper advice. The things she said, he was saying to her. And I said, look, any other woman probably shot him like that, And I thought it was between me and her. And she was telling everybody.
Oh my God.
She was getting the strong advice from her, and more like probably getting it from me. But she took one time, she had one failed marriage. She was determined not to have a second one. But as time went on, years ago, this went on constantly. And she was determined not to let her marriage end. And all of a sudden, when I started reading on Facebook, we were Facebook friends, and things ended down 180 degrees. He got into the church. He was going on retreats and stuff like that.
Well, you sure this ain't Corey? What's his name? Tall black guy, kind of built, stocky like.
Well, he tall and kind of stocky like.
Yeah, I think it's that guy because I remember.
Well, they just call him Jazz. Named Matthew Jasper.
Oh no, that ain't him. I'm thinking about Coin. Whatever his name. I know his name was Coin.
Well, this guy Matthew Jasper's wife was there too. She looked red bone. And she was a nice woman, but he's telling me stuff that he told her. He don't want to touch her. He don't want to have sex with her. He didn't desire her.
Like he demeaned her all the way down.
I mean, he really demeaned, but she was determined to keep her marriage. And like I said, as time went on, maybe because of her, God has changed her. I don't know how to do it. I hadn't read. She hadn't posted anything lately. But for her practical, they're on the right, still on the right track, But he And I said, any other woman would not have put up with her.
Right.
But like I said, if she would just talk to me, it would have been good. But one day I overheard her. She would just tell everybody. Everybody was standing up there listening to her. She would just tell everybody about her personal business. Oh my God, she tell everybody. I thought it was a conversation between me and her. But once you tell more than one person, you get all kinds of
Advice
negative
and
advice,
stuff. Yep.
And like I said, after I realized she was hanging on, and I wasn't giving her the best advice, 'cause a lot of things Gary said, some of the stuff that he said to her, some of the woman would probably shot her by now. But she was determined. She was determined. And sometimes God does things that we don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
And she was determined not to lose that marriage. And I'm assuming they're still married.
I see. That's just like
Let's see if she's still there. A lot of times people go and they come and go. You think they're doing good and they're not doing so good.
Right now I'm studying for my
yeah. Sometimes you can look at people and you look at you like ain't no way I'd have been gone. Stuff like that. But other people, like I think about a good friend of mine. Her marriage was not the best. She loved her husband. I think in some ways she kind of regretted him or whatever. Not regretted him, but she didn't like the way, he was walking and doing certain things. And she was in God all the way. And I think it bothered her because her husband wasn't the same way.
Right.
And so she would come and she would talk to me and I would talk to her. But I would never tell her, yeah, you need to leave. You need to leave right now. Because I was thinking about that and I'm like, would I really want that advice from somebody if they was giving it to me? And I'm like, no, I wouldn't. I want somebody to try to show me a way to hold on.
Right.
But I do understand that what I think it's Paul is telling them. If he don't want to be there, then you let him go. You don't try to keep somebody that don't want to be there. If they don't want to be there, you have to let them go. But if there's anything there that can be salvaged, you at least got to try to salvage it. Even if it's something that at the end of the day is still going to end up gone, like done, dissolved. But the part that needed to be resolved, you did your best to resolve it. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so that's the part that I feel like you have to play.
Yeah, I just looked her up. Now she still got her in-laws, but it don't really say where she's still married. They got her cousin, her sister-in-law, and her mother-in-law. But it doesn't say whether or not she's still in a relationship or if they still married or whatever.
Right.
A lot of times they say in a relationship with married, they don't say. So, hopefully the thing is, but she did mention the mother-in-law and the sister-in-law, but doesn't mention his name. It doesn't mention that she's still in a relationship or not in a relationship. Because sometimes when you're married or not, they're still your in-laws.
Right.
But she was determined, and God blessed her. Hopefully, however it went, everything started.
Well, I mean, and then now, so this is the Song of Solomon. Let's go back to the what is it in? Yes, in Proverbs. Proverbs 31.
Oh, the verses woman thing.
Huh?
The verses woman thing.
Yeah.
In my lifetime, I think I did 2.
Virtuous women.
Really 2. I would consider, because those are when basically they were older women. When they passed away, that's the first thought that ran into my head about them. My wife, great aunt, named Ashley Nesbitt, everybody's called Agabot. And I loved her, the passion. I loved her.
From the Song of Solomon. I thought Proverbs.
Proverbs is behind that, right past the.
Is Proverbs
next to
before
Ecclesi-
Psalms?
After Psalms. Right next to Ecclesiastes. Now, I thought you go back past Ecclesiastes, you were in the Psalms. I mean, Proverbs 31.
Okay, yeah, here we go, right here. I'm going through. I'm gonna get there at some point. I'm get there at some point in life. Okay, here we go. Oh, that's 30.
Let's start with verse 10.
These pages be so stuck together. Okay, so let's break down Proverbs 31 one at a time. And is love Love, the word love got to be in this scripture somewhere.
Nowhere in the scriptures is love. In this particular scripture, love is nowhere in the scripture.
In Proverbs 31?
And nowhere.
Wow.
No, love is not in her. It states basically, it tells about not her duty, but I think whatever she does because of who she is, not
because of who he is or whatever,
not
right?
because of who she is. A virtuous woman, she's not. You don't have to tell her to do this and this. It's in her.
It's in her to do it. Yeah.
I mean, you can't make a woman virtuous. That's something. That's a God-given thing.
Right.
And I'm not saying it's a rare thing, but like I said, I've met two in my lifetime.
Well, I think it's rare.
Yeah.
A virtuous woman is rare in this day and time,
Yeah.
but it's all because of what this generation is even growing up to. I
Yeah.
mean, from me to my kids, everybody's totally different. Like, as far as what they believe. But the difference is, the word has not changed, not one bit. It is exactly the same word from gazillions of years ago. It's the same word.
You sure I know what virtuous means? We just assume if they read it, we just don't know what it means.
Okay, so let's go to go back over to 1 Corinthians. That's Acts.
This particular says having or showing how moral standards. She considers herself a virtuous. She considers herself virtuous because she neither drink nor smoke. I don't think you can consider yourself virtuous. That has to be something that other people see. Just like the Bible says, we're not to see ourselves as being wise. I don't think somebody else should. A woman should see herself virtuous. It should be something that she shows, not something that she says herself. I'm a virtuous woman now. You're virtuous to yourself, but if nobody else sees you as a virtuous woman.
Yeah.
People always say, you call me everything but a child of God. And I thought about that for a long time. I said, my question is, why don't they call you a child of God? What is it about you that they don't see you being a child of God? And people say that they're really on a child of God. I mean, we all let you God's children. But they think, they call me everything a child of God. But I'm saying to my father, I said, why don't they call you a child of God? If they call you everything else, why is it they don't? Is it something about you that you're not showing who you are? So it's not like when someone's a good person, a wise person, it's not what they see in themselves. It's what other people see in them.
Right.
And I don't think a woman that considers herself virtuous because she don't drink or smoke. My wife don't drink or smoke. I don't. God forgive me if I'm wrong. I don't see her as a virtuous woman. She don't drink or smoke. She did. Not. She just casually. Before I met her, that's one thing I almost didn't meet her. When she picked up the cigarette, oh my God, she smokes. But I was the only thing I smoked. I said, I don't think I deal with that smoke was a woman in my car, and I can do it without the woman, but I can't do it in my car. I car can smoke all day long, but I ain't putting on a woman that smokes. That's the way I was.
Yeah.
That's the way I was.
And see, that's how our mind thinks about certain things, certain situations. It ain't nothing personal. This is just me.
Yeah.
And now the thing is, I'm not gonna change who I am to accommodate what you want, because I don't smoke, so I don't want a person that smoke.
Right.
Like I said, if you want to continue to smoke, keep smoking. But for me, it's just not for me. And that don't make me more godly than you. It don't make me more upright or whatever than you are. It just makes me me. That's just me.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we have a hard time accepting things like that as well. Like you said, your wife used to smoke, whatever. So you like, nah, I don't want you, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, you come to find out, that's your wife. That's your wife.
Yeah.
And you like, darn, who knew? I remember back in the day, I would have never even looked at you twice. It wouldn't have been something that was on my radar.
But I don't see him smoke in the club, and I've seen him smoke around me
Right.
or when we dated.
Which to me
Yeah.
tells a lot about her, because she at least respected you to where she like, nah, he don't like that, so I'm not gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, now whether she was doing it when she wasn't around you,
I did one time in Final Fact. I remember the brand. She smoked Salem.
Okay.
And her favorite drink was pina colada. She drank those was her drink. I know I witnessed that of what she drank. But she didn't smoke a lot. I think she just smoked because the lady she hung out with that time.
Yeah, because they smoke.
Yeah, they smoked, and it was something she did. But like I said, she never lit up a cigarette as long as I known her in front of my presence.
Because that used to be me. I literally, like, me and my friend girls and stuff, when we got to be about 18, I remember we would sit down, we would roll little joints, like we knew what we was doing. Had no idea, honestly, but we would roll little joints. And, you know, like back then, it ain't like you had a lot of money.
Yeah.
You have some money, you'll go buy like a little 12-pack of beer or something, whatever like that. So we would sit there drinking, smoking, like we just grown, like we know what we doing, but in the end, you ain't even have no idea what you was doing. So we'd sit there, we'd do that, and then I remember when I got my own place, I would invite all my friends over. We would have like a little spade party, we would play spades and stuff like that. Oh, well, let's get some beer, let's get some, you know. And we would call ourselves drinking. If we wanted to drink some alcohol, we'd go get gin. Like back in the day, let's go get some gin.
Yeah.
And we'd say, oh, gin make you sing. Just stupid stuff, just dumb. And so we would go get that stuff. And we'd sit around drinking, smoking, stuff like that. Oh, girl, I'm so tipsy. I don't know, you know, just stupid. And I remember, it's so funny. I remember, when I was, like, the day I had stopped drinking and stuff, I would be thinking about how we would sit around and be like, oh, man, I'm so messed up. I don't know, I can't drink that. So, you know, just all that kind of stuff. But then I'm sitting there like, you didn't even want to drink when you had to drink. Like, literally. Like, I was sitting there, just sitting there with my friends just because they was drinking, I was drinking. They was smoking, okay, I'm going to smoke. But as soon, thank God, as soon as God relieved me from all that stuff, I didn't think about it. Like, man, I don't want no. Do you want some weed? No, I'm good.
Yeah.
You want some? No. Like cigarette? You want cigarette? No, I'm good.
Yeah, I think back then when we were young, we associated things we did at the party. We associated that with we was having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like you say, you was like, oh man, well, I'm so high, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And we having a good time. And I think being young, I think we just had to want to be involved.
Yeah.
Everybody was LQ, where everybody doing this, so I'm doing it. You know?
It's just crazy when we think like that. But okay, so getting back to what we was talking about. Okay, so we was talking about love and end. See, and so I was thinking that Proverbs 31 was what it was talking about love, but it's just talking about the virtue of a woman, like her virtue, like, you know, how strong-willed she is, like her mindset. You know, how she would go in and, you know, make sure that our family was good. You know, basically she took care of her family, not just financially, but she took care of them in the small ways. But she did all that. But then when you come over to 1 Corinthians chapter 13, now that's going to break down love on a level that you couldn't even imagine with your own mind. Like, so like the writer starts out, chapter 13, verse 1. So he starts out and he says, if I speak with the tongue of men and of angels, but I have not love, then I have become only a noisy gong, or a clanging cymbal. Okay, so just think. Right here he's saying, look, I can speak, if I speak with tongues of angels, but I don't have love, then it's just like talking to the wind. Honestly, you're talking and you're making noise or sounds, but it's not sound that people gonna enjoy or they're gonna want to listen to or hear. You know what I'm saying? Because a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal, that ain't nothing I want to sit around and hear constantly. You know what I'm saying? So he describes it as it's just an annoying distraction is what it is. So then the next verse he says, and if I have the gifts of prophecy. Now this is a gift.
Yeah.
The gifts of prophecy, and I speak a new message from God to the people, and understanding all my mysteries and possess all my knowledge. And if I have all the sufficient faith so that I can remove all mountains, but do not have love, reaching out to others, I am nothing. Now this is in the Amplified version, so if you see all these words.
Well, I noticed they put mine in there, but King James don't put mine. It's
Yeah.
about, if I can understand all mysteries
Yeah.
and all knowledge. It don't put personal. It just said if I can understand all mysteries and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
knowledge. But
Well, I don't
not-
know why I said my then, because it ain't
Is
even
it
in this.
in
It ain't in this
Oh,
version
yeah.
either. Yeah, but it says
and have all
and
faith.
understanding all mysteries and possess all knowledge, and if I have all sufficient faith so that I can remove mountains, but do not have love, reaching out to others, I am nothing. So look, right here, I take it as him saying, look, you can have all the gifts of prophecy, meaning you know things that are to come.
Yeah,
You know,
right,
the Lord has shown you so many things, but you do not have, you do not possess like faith. You don't have faith in any of that stuff. So that you can remove mountains. Then you know you don't have love. Like if you don't have that, then you're nothing.
Yeah.
So you telling me you got the prophecies that tell you all these things where you can move mountains, you can do all this stuff, but you don't have,
Love.
yeah, you don't have love. Then what do you have? Nothing.
I think the whole thing is you don't understand that love is the key.
The
The
key.
key.
Yeah.
Because of love. Because of love. God gave us his son. He didn't wait for us to get righteous. He didn't wait for us to be obedient. He didn't wait for us to ask for forgiveness. While we're yet still doing all the sinful things that we could big enough or old enough to do,
He sent
he
his son.
still gave. Why? Because of love. All
Yeah.
because of it. It said, one scripture I can't remember where it said, love covers a multitude of sins.
Sins.
So that one word, the key of love, it means that love, there's no limit to love.
Yeah.
There's no, I love you, but I'm gonna
There
love
is
you.
no but after
Yes.
I love you.
I'm gonna love you unless you do this and this. You know, back when you're dating guys, so if you love me, you will do this.
Right.
This. I told my daughter, I said, if a guy tell you she love you and ask you to do something you don't want to do, that ain't love.
Right, that
If
is
you don't
love.
want to do it, you don't make you do it because we love you. But love is, I think it's something that we truly understand. So many people try to describe it. Years and years and years ago, in school, I remember these young ladies sending a letter out, what is love, like compassion, love and this. And none of us knew what love is. Until the day, most of us do not know what love truly is. Love is, like you said before, love is the ability not to overlook, but in spite of what someone do or don't do,
Or what they say or don't say.
you're gonna love them. Even though you don't like what they say or do, you love them in spite of them.
Yeah.
This is what God did for us and still does.
And this,
In spite of all that mess we get ourselves in. Think about it, even after he sent his son Jesus, we confess Jesus, we believe Jesus, that don't make us perfect. We still screw up. I know I still screw up.
right.
And I tell them like quick, I said, when people look at me, I said, look, no, I'm not that good. I said, God is that God. I said, I've done one thing to deserve thus and thus. It's because God loves me in spite of all.
In spite of, right.
You know, he loves me. And I can't say that I deserve this.
And you can't even,
I deserve that.
honestly, you can't even understand why he love you. You sit and you like, Lord, I just did this. You can't love me. And you know why we think like that? Because of us. Because I know if somebody did it to me, I'm not going to love them. You know what I'm saying? But that's because we attribute love to a feeling.
And
That's why.
sometimes to action. My neighbor, his wife started going through the change. She got 40, she started going through the midlife crisis. And she decided, he let her go. He let her go. She lived her life as married but single one for a couple of years. He went on his life. He let her lady move in with him. But then she wanted to come back home. He let her come back. I told Sarah, I didn't tell him. I said, I don't know. I said, I'm not saying I wouldn't. I said, I don't know if I could let her come back. I said, I don't know. Go out and do her thing, do this and this. And all of a sudden she done had enough, now she want to come back. I said, I don't know if I could have let her come back. But I let her come back.
Well, I mean, you think about it.
Yeah.
At the time, he was doing him too. So,
But I mean, she left him.
I mean, I understand.
She left him to be single. She wanted
I
to be
mean,
single.
I understand that, but the thing was, he made sure he didn't marry somebody, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he was still doing his thing, but he didn't marry anybody.
Yeah.
So when she decided to come back, then he was like, okay, well, I can let this go. I mean, I ain't saying it's right. I'm just telling you.
No, I'm just saying I don't know if I could have done it.
No.
I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't do it. I don't know if I could have done it. I'm just saying I don't know. I thank God he put in my position. I can't tell you how many times Sarah aside, she would look up, you know, and I would always stop her. I'll stop her so many times. And then the time I said, look, sit down and said, look, next time you go, I'm taking you where you want to go. She quit doing it, but and she still did. Eventually later on, she'll do it again. She hadn't done it lately, but I can't tell you, I can't even count the time she upside she wouldn't leave. And I would stop her each time. I would not let her go. And I don't even know why I wouldn't let her go. I could have been a happy man. Or a miserable man. One of the two. One of the two.
I don't know. Anyway, let's get back. Cause
Let's go rest.
Oh, okay. Well, let me go ahead and go to the bathroom too then.
Name over the world, but in this country, it seems like love and like friend all wrapped up in someone's position.
Yeah.
You know, what they have and don't have. Money, the love of money, seems to, I don't know, make people think that they are something they're not. They're more than human. They're better than somebody else because they got money. Their family got money. They act, a lot of act snobby. If they got money or position, or sometimes they just drive a nice car or whatever, or live in a nice house. They think these things make them better, or make them better than someone who do not have.
Or they use it in a way to exert themselves over someone else. I mean, you have men out here who, not just men, of course, but you have men who they'll say they love someone or something, and the person that they go out purposely and they seek women who have nothing, as far as like physically, you know, nothing to show for anything, and they say, oh, well, I can give you the world. Look what I got over here. I can give you all of this. But, you know, you're going to be my woman. You know, you're going to come out when I say come out. You're going to go back in when I say go in. You're going to have my children. I mean, these are all the things. I'm going to give you all this, but this is what you're going to have to do for it. And, of course, they don't actually come out and tell you what the but is, but that's part of it. That's part of it in the end of the day. Because I think of people like from, you know, me, I go back to Chris Brown and Rihanna, right? Okay, well, when Chris Brown first met Rihanna, he was technically in the game already. And then she came into the game as far as having a big name. They both came in the game at the same time, but as far as actually exploding onto the scene, he exploded onto the scene. And then she eventually took off on the scene. So I think about when they first got together, it was kind of like they was on an even playing field. But somewhere along the line, I do believe that Chris kind of got to where he was like, okay, I love this girl. I don't know what I'm going to do, you know, because he had been doing things, but then he's like, I'm going to have to stop this because if I don't stop this, this is going to ruin everything. And so, but before he could get to that point, she had found out about the things, you see what I'm saying? And so now he found himself in a mess. And of course, all the stuff happened, all that stuff. But anyway, I said all that to say, you can be in a position to where it seems like you the one on top. But if the other person get even an inkling of what you're doing, and then they call you out on it, now it's too late for you to, you know, oh my God, like, how you find this out? Like, you know what I'm saying? But that ain't the question you should be asking yourself. The question you should be asking yourself, do I want to continue doing what I'm doing, or do I want to make everything right and go from there? So I think a lot of times we don't think like that. You know, you could be married and, you know, you got your wife under a banner, so to speak, you know, because you're the breadwinner, you bringing in all the money, you doing this and that. And in your mind, you thinking, well, she ain't gonna want to give up this, she ain't gonna want to give up that. So I'm gonna go ahead and do what I want to do, because she ain't gonna just leave me anyway. And for most marriages, it's like that. That's honestly how it is. The woman like, you better not bring me that, you know, she'll say something like that, but in the end, she ain't leaving because she's like, I'm in my comfortable home, I'm not leaving, I got all the money I need right here. If I want something, I can get it, you know, so I'm not leaving. But see, now you at a point in the generation where the woman like, oh, nah, I'm not with you, I'm out of here, because I can get my own money. I can do it my own way. I don't have to set up and put up with this stuff or nothing like that.
And I also think this could, like, someone marries someone who's got a lot of money, unless they sign some kind of prenup, You only come when you only get what you come in with, but they don't sign a prenup. Every time I turn around, someone get caught. Most of the man, every now and then a woman, but they paying.
I wouldn't know why a man would ever sign a prenup when,
Well, woman,
I mean, for,
woman sign it, but they pay out millions of dollars, and I'm not abreast to them being paying alimony and stuff like that, but it does bother me a lot. When heads or tails, whether a woman was married or not, she gonna have someone to stay, everything like, oh, I buy a car, whatever. But just because a man has $100 million, his wife gets $50 million and she don't do anything. Or they say, well, she got used to living this way. But what about before they met?